right, welcome everyone to the Pranayama class this week. Today we're going to focus on Bhramari Pranayama. Bhramari refers to a large bee that they have in India. And the idea is that we make a humming or buzzing sound like a bee when we exhale. It's pretty simple. What this does is, well, it does a few things. One of the things is it helps you to lengthen your exhale. A little more emphasis on exhalations, which usually has a calming effect to the nervous system. It also creates vibrations that the ancient yogis believed help to purify the nadis, the energy channels. And a little more on the esoteric side of this, what these ancient yogis believed was that when you do this enough, you begin to actually hear the energy running through the channels. You can hear prana running through the nadis. So I'll explain that a little bit more about that in a minute here. But what you're probably going to want for this, the way we're going to do it anyway, is you probably want a block, or if you don't have a block, some kind of cushion, or a pretty firm cushion, or quite a few blankets, because we're going to do this seated, and we'll give you a side view here. We're going to do it seated with our knees up at first. Zoom in here. There we go. So hopefully you can see here that I'm sitting up, my hips are pretty high, so when I have my knees up, I can sit like this with my spine in pretty good extension, as opposed to being hunched over this way. And then what we're going to do in a few moments is we're going to combine this Bhramari Pranayama with a variation of Yoni Mudra, a simplified version of Yoni Mudra. The way you do this one is you'll use your fingers to block your eyes, and you use your thumbs to block off your ears. So there's a little flap in front of the ear canal called the tragus. For this one, we're going to press in front of that tragus, so you use it to kind of block off your ear canal. And the idea here is that you won't be able to hear or see anything from the outside. It's a way to practice pratyahara. And in fact, the old school yogis believe that this is one of the best ways for people to get into deep states of meditation. There's even a verse in the Hatha Yoga Pradipika that says, the sequence for Hatha Yoga is asana, pranayama, mudra, and nada. Nada means a silent sound or an inner sound. And eventually that's what we're going to begin to focus on. We're going to focus on whatever internal sounds we hear, even if it's silence. All right, so I'll give you a little more description now of the sequence that we'll do. So if you haven't already, grab something to sit on. So your hips are pretty high, and you're able to sit with your feet flat on the floor, your knees up, and you still, like I said, have good extension in your spine. And let me do this first, because if you do it, you won't see or hear what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my fingers again to block off my eyes. My thumb's going to block off my ears, and kind of important too, at this point, I'm going to let my elbows rest on my knees. If you don't, pretty quickly, all you're going to think about is how tired your shoulders get. So at this point, we're resting them there. All I'll do from there is I'll do like an ujjayi inhale. I'll do a short pause for, let's say, a few seconds, so the breath momentarily stops. Then when I exhale, I'm just making the buzzing sound that you might hear if a bee was flying around. We're going to do that 10 times. Now, I've done this enough times where I know it's really common to forget, to lose count. So try to do around 10 times. Try to keep track, but do something around 10 times. And I should point out too, there's no need to rush. Almost always in pranayama, slower is better. No need to rush. So after 10 of those breaths in this position, I'm going to then lean back a little bit so I can, as gracefully as I can, cross my ankles and come into kind of a more traditional kind of meditative seat. And if you need to, of course, you'll need to adjust. But then I'll come back here, and now at this point, all I'm going to do is listen. So I'm not making that noise anymore. I'm not trying to lengthen my breath. I'm still blocking off my ears and blocking off my eyes. All I do now, my only job now, is to listen on the inside. Now, you might not hear anything like I mentioned earlier. That's okay. Just enjoy the silence. If you hear something from the inside, so it'll be some kind of subtle sound, that becomes your dharana, your point of concentration. That's what these ancient yogis believed was a really quick way to deep states of meditation, by focusing on the internal sound. Now, at some point, your shoulders will begin to distract because they're going to get tired. When your shoulders begin to become a distraction, then just release your hands down and we'll sit for a little bit longer. All right, so another quick review. We're going to start here. Sitting tall, elbows resting on the knees so they don't get tired, blocking out eyes and ears. Inhale like an ujjayi breath, do a short pause, then a humming sound like a bee. Do 10 of those, nice and slowly. After about 10, then, as gracefully as you can, just cross your ankles, come into some kind of cross-legged seat or some kind of seat that you can hold for a long time comfortably. Then all I'm doing here is listening. I'm not making a noise anymore. I'm not trying to lengthen my breath. My only job here is to listen to whatever I hear on the inside. When my shoulders get tired and begin to distract me, then I'm just going to bring my hands down and I'll sit for a little bit longer. All right? Okay, let's get started here. So if you're not ready to sit up nice and tall, bend your knees and have the soles of your feet on the floor. Rest your elbows on your knees. Then block off your ears and eyes and do 10 of those breaths. After 10, bring your knees down and just listen. Now bring your palms together to Anjali Mudra. Take one last moment to enjoy the peace you've created through the practice. And start to rub the palms together to create some heat. Once you build some heat, rest your hands over your eyes, feel them moving in, recharging your senses, and take one last slow, smooth breath in here. When you're ready, open your eyes. Thank you for joining. Hope you enjoyed class. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I hope I get to see you again soon.